Hello everyone and welcome back guys to episode 3 of season 6 of our F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Yes, today we're here back ready for the Dutch Grand Prix. Obviously if you guys missed out on the Bahrain Grand Prix that went live a couple of days ago, definitely recommend going back and checking that one out. But so far season 6, it has really been throwing everything at us after the opening 2 races of the championship. Having a look at the current championship standings, we're down in 12th place there, 6 points to our name. The team is in 6th place there as well. Charles Leclerc has been the big point scorer so far for us this year. But hopefully, as we head in towards Zandvoort, this weekend, you can tell I'm so used to running a full calendar here on F1 2020. Yeah, hopefully this track should suit us a little bit better. We have had a lot of upgrades even go on the car. You can see we've had a couple more upgrades in recent weeks. We've got a couple more in the works as well, though. So hopefully this weekend, you know, theoretically, it looks like we are taking a bit of performance out of Mercedes and AlphaTauri there, both ourselves and Racing Point, starting to close the gap back up just a little bit more. And yeah, we have got a couple more upgrades in the works at the moment there. You can see the rotors are also in the works, and then I think we've also, got an aero upgrade as well on the secondary wing flaps. But yeah, let's head out then here, ready for the Dutch Grand Prix. Right, here we are then, qualifying day for the Dutch Grand Prix, and if ever we needed a good start, this weekend has surely got to be it. We can't afford to have another result like we did in Bahrain there. We really do need a better result than we had in Australia, I'll be honest with you guys as well. I might have forgot about that curb on the inside of turn 1. Coming towards the end of our first lap though, we've still got Nicholas Latifi just sat in the way at this stage there. What is that? That is not a particularly great moving out of the way. But in towards the final couple of corners though. Let's just see what lap we can put together then on the ball. Going to stay low out of the final turn. Shortest run to the line. It's going to be a 107.4. That's not going to be good enough for Q3. Right, heading back out then. We need about another 2/10 if we want to get through into Q3 then. Not the worst track in the world to go out in Q2. You can make a better strategy work. But so difficult to overtake around here nonetheless. That really, if we can try and elevate ourselves up into that final session, start higher up the grid, it would probably do us a world of good this weekend. They're down through turn 1, roll on the power on the X there, take a nice chunk of curb. Let's just wait and see what we can do. Really sort of chucking the car in. Front end doesn't feel particularly brilliant round here, but it's not too bad either. We are slightly up as we head out of Sector 1, up the hill. And went towards one of the best corners of the lap. There we go, that was hooked up, that felt good. Can't quite look at the delta just yet because the corners continue to come thick and fast at you through the next sector, but you can see half a second up at the moment as we head out of Sector 2. This is so far been a pretty hooked up lap there. That has not been the line through that corner though. Still half a second up though as we head down in towards Sector 3 there. Is this going to be a lap to put us through into the final session? Let's just wait and see. Obviously we won't have the Williams in the way either through there, so no dirty air or anything like that, and this lap has been pretty much hooked up, obviously with the exception of that one corner. Out of the final corner there, it's going to be about 7/10 as we head up towards the line there, try and give ourselves the best run out the final corner, give ourselves a little bit of momentum as well. Purple through the final sector, where does that leave us? P8, we do sneak into Q3. Well, there we go then, into Q3, and you can see 4 Brits in a row there. Hamilton, myself, Jack Aitken and Lando Norris there, as well as George Russell, all making it through into the final qualifier session there. We actually beat our teammate Charles Leclerc, who goes out in Q2 here, so maybe, the car not really best suited to this track. But I mean, you've got half a tenth from Hamilton back to Lando Norris there is absolutely incredible there. I mean, a tenth of a second from 7th to 12th. At the end of Q2 there. But Lance Stroll, he's been consistent so far early on this season. There, a brilliant lap by him. Maybe he can try and take a pole away from AlphaTauri and Mercedes there. But Red Bull looking strong around this circuit as well. Obviously, all the Honda-powered cars that have got good aero and chassis that just don't quite have the power units seem to be a bit more even this weekend. We're going to get one chance in Q3. I want to aim for another 106. Let's see if we can get it hooked up. Well, I'm not feeling particularly confident ready for this final Q3 run then. Lando Norris currently in 9th, went quicker than we managed to in Q2, and that felt like a pretty damn good lap around this circuit, so we'll wait and see as to what we can achieve. Out of the final corner, up towards start-finish line. Let's just see if we can try and get anything higher than P10 at the end of this qualifying session there. Back down through turn 1, ease on the power on the exit as we head out through the first couple of corners. Oh, cool. Get the nose in, try and give yourself a bit of a good run out of the hairpin. There's so many different lines you can take through that corner, and none of them feel quick at this stage of the session there. I mean, Top Guys is back down into the 105s, which is just insane. That's, again, has been pretty well hooked up round there. Not quite as good as our Q2 lap. That has not been the line through there, however. So we get all kinds of fishtaily. It's going from bad to worse at this stage of the session. Nowhere near the positioning that we need in the car. We're going to hit the auto spin curb as well. Luckily, not too lethal this time around, but this is just not a lap. This is just not a great lap at this stage of the session. Oh, it's all going wrong. It's all going wrong. I think we're basically out of it. We may as well finish the lap just to put time on the board, but not the Q3 lap that we needed there. This is going to be, what, a mid-7 with a bit of luck? Maybe even worse than that at the final corner. We just don't seem to be confident with this car at the moment. Up towards the line, it is going to be a 7.2, I think? Not great, but not as bad as I thought it would be. Well, there we go then. It is P10 at the end of qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix. And to be honest, looking at it, I think P9, maybe P8, if we got it absolutely nailed, was all we were going to be able to get in that session there. The likes of Red Bull, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, and Lance Stroll, seemingly, are really, really good this weekend. But we've got to get our head down. Safety cars are always a factor around here as well, so if we can time that perfectly, might be able to elevate ourselves up the order. We need to start our turnaround now, and that means scoring some good, solid, consistent points. So hopefully as the car upgrades continue, we can really try and push in the second half of the year. Let's head in then here to the Dutch Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and Zandvoort, 25 miles away from Amsterdam, and the host for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. 2.6 miles then make up a lap here at a wet Zandvoort circuit, where some tricky braking zones and sudden drops can make it all too easy to slide off into the gravel. There are 14 corners overall and a 678-metre main straight, providing the best chance for overtaking. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. George Russell will begin today's event from pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Stroll, Hamilton, Alexander Albon, and Ocon, Aitken, Norris, Mr. Monaco, and Sergio Perez, Leclerc, Verstappen, and Guan Yu Zhou, and Kvyat, Sainz, Latifi, Kimi Raikkonen, and Antonio Giovinazzi. King, Matsushita, De Vries, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Right, well here we are then, ready on the grid for the Dutch Grand Prix, and it is looking slippery here today. It's going to be a wet to dry race here in Zandvoort. We've got 2 Dutch drivers on the grid, neither of them starting inside the top 10 there. I'm sure Verstappen and Nick de Vries want a good strategy today to try and move themselves up the order come the end of this race. But hopefully for us, starting P9, we've got Danny Kvyat behind us with some grid penalties. We can try and get good points haul as well here. Ready though on the grid. It's going to be interesting to see how the car handles in the wet. Waiting on those 5 red lights, however. And it is going to be lights out and away we go. Off to a good start, a really good start actually, as we slip up the inside down in towards turn 1 there. We've still got one of the McLarens on our inside. It's all getting a bit scrappy through the first corner there, but 9th to 6th at the start of the race there. That was absolutely exactly what we needed in this Grand Prix. If you guys watch the Alpine career mode, you would have watched Hamilton make up 2 places off the start there. We've got 1 better this time around, straight up into 6th place in this Grand Prix. There is Albon struggling as we head out of Sector 1 there. Don't want to go full throttle through all the little bumps there, just afraid of the wheel spin on lap 1. But that has been the perfect start to this Dutch Grand Prix there. Straight away up 3 places around a track that's always difficult to overtake at, and it's going to be even more so now in this Grand Prix. Heading out of Sector 2, however, we've just got to keep it calm, try and settle down into a bit of a rhythm here. It seems that Russell has held on to the lead there. Stroll has got the jump on Gasly off the start of this race as well. So this could be a big opportunity for Lance Stroll to really sort of solidify himself as a championship contender this year. He's had 2 good results to kick off. Didn't think I'd be saying that pre-season. Lance Stroll, a championship contender, but he is putting in the work. Albon really struggling through the twisty bits there. You can see just how much closer we get through the hairpin. And we're going to get a big old run on the Red Bull just as the flags go green again. Have we got a car out of the Grand Prix? I think it's the Williams of Nicholas Latifi. Oh, Albon does try and keep the nose up the inside. We're still side by side as we head in towards Sector 2 there. It's Giovinazzi out. And we got a full safety car in this Grand Prix on only lap 2 there, as that is a disappointing end to Giovinazzi's day. But not really going to change a lot, I don't think, in this race. No one's surely is going to pit. We're all still on 2-lap-old tyres. We're getting ready to go green then once more at the end of lap 4 here for the Dutch Grand Prix. Team are also saying that it's not going to be long before the track dries up as well, but it is going to be Russell who leads the way out of the final couple of corners here. We've saved a lap's worth of fuel in this as well there, and I'm sure that underfuel in the car helped us on the start of the Grand Prix. Can we try and get a run on Alex Albon though as we head out of the final corner there? Russell leaving it really late to finally get going there, but it seems like we've got a good jump on Albon as we head back down towards turn 1 there. Timed that to perfection. Big old lock-up in towards the first corner there, but we will slot up the inside. And now we're up into 5th place of this Grand Prix there. Beautiful little restart in this race as we've now got Aitken trying to look past Albon as well. I'm sure Max Verstappen wondering how his new rookie teammate is so much quicker than him, especially around a track like this. But look at that, big old switchback on Lewis Hamilton as well there. Oh, the Mercedes, oh, he's squeezing me over the curb. We get forced out towards him. Albon's going to come back at us as well over the top of the crest there. It's all kicking off in this Grand Prix as another huge kick of wheel spin on the exit there. Team still saying about getting ready for the dry tyres. And somehow we've held on to that. All of us still remain in one piece. That was a little bit scary. Hamilton is not confident at that hairpin, and this time around, look at that switchback we're going to be able to get on him. This time around, he does bail out over the top of the hill there. No, he doesn't. He does try and keep the nose in. It's a big old squeeze. But we do now move up into P4 of this Grand Prix there, so really slicing and dicing early on in this Dutch Grand Prix. They're going for those risky, bold moves. That obviously cost us last time out in Bahrain there, but these are the sort of big moves we need to be making in this race early on there. You can definitely see the track, though, is starting to dry up. It's just sawing away at the wheel with all the wheel spin there. Next up, Pierre Gasly. New fast lap of the Grand Prix as well. Things you love to see. We are getting in a groove at the moment. There's very little spray. DRS has been enabled. Are we going to see any of the back markers into the pits? No, we're not. But surely now is the time to switch. Team finally recommended a new strategy option, as the tyres are definitely now starting to get a bit slower as the track is drying up. We've already set it up to go mediums. But the team is saying that we want to go softs. Don't think that's the way we want to take it. Make sure we get it changed in time. There you go. Don't want to use an old set of softs. May as well go into a fresh set of mediums and try and see if we can drag them to the end of the race. Oh, one of the Mercs. That was Russell coming out right in front of us here as it's pandemonium in the pit lane there. Just a couple of cars opting to stay out in this Grand Prix there. But a 2.1 second stop has come in clutch as well for us at this stage of the day. Everyone else is going to be a bit quicker than us for a few laps. But I'm thinking about the long game here as Nick de Vries comes out just into P7. Here, Gasly now down into 8th, but my aim is to get to the end. Everyone else is going to have to run another pit stop here, so we can afford to just play the long game and see how this race now unfolds there. Gasly already trying to look past de Vries as we head up the hill there. Is that going to leave de Vries a bit vulnerable to us? As well as the Haas man. Oh, he's going to be very, very slow around the outside. Yes, we do. Thank you very much. And up into 8th place once again there. You can see all these slower cars. Who's that? That's Matsushita. Snowing up Lance Stroll in this Grand Prix. So this is giving Gasly and I a big opportunity to close back up to the racing point here as Matsushita very, very slow out of the middle sector here. Stroll trying to look around the outside. Is he going to be able to hook up a move down in towards the next couple of corners here, or can we capitalise on this? Gasly going slow behind him. You can just see Matsushita really struggling for any sort of grip there. Just about comes in front of us, but we do get up the inside in towards the next corner there, and that's a cheeky little move on Pierre Gasly in this Grand Prix as well, which I think now, as we slap the wall, pick up a little bit of front wing damage there, that hopefully isn't going to cost us too much. We should now be up into a net podium place. Yes, we are. P3 in the Grand Prix there, but that little bit of front wing damage, not going to help us at all. Russell, new fast lap of the day of 14.8. We set a 16.4. George Russell is flying as he wants to try and further extend his title lead today. George Russell is setting a 12.1 at the end of lap 11 of this Grand Prix. We set a 13.1. So yeah, George absolutely flying at this stage. I'm hoping the extra performance of those soft tyres starts to wear off soon. But we've got to remember as well, he's got a much quicker race car than us anyway. We're so used to having the fastest car, or at least a car that can match fastest in these races. And at the moment, it's just not the case. It's a completely different mindset. We might not be able to win this race, no matter what we do, no matter how well we nail this strategy, if we can even get the car to the end. George Russell just might be too fast, and it's frustrating. It's a bitter pill to swallow. But we have, therefore, got to give ourselves extra motivation to try and improve the car. We're horrible through this middle sector still. Pierre Gasly is constantly trying to look for a move out of this corner, but at the moment we're keeping him at bay. Hamilton behind us now, set a new fast lap of the Grand Prix on a 10.0. So that time we actually did a 10.7. So pace is starting to neutralise a bit, but still not quite enough. Oh, Gasly's going for it up the inside, in towards the end of the middle sector there, but we do notice that and work out a way to defend from it. Yeah, Gasly is just getting more and more feisty at this stage of the day there. George Russell, come on, that is ridiculous. A 109.2 at this stage of the race there. As we head around the final corner, we did have that little juke with Pierre there. We set at 11.1. Russell is in another league so far this weekend. So team then, still saying they want us on softs later on in this Grand Prix. Not too sure how long a stop really costs you around here, but I think we would still be close to Russell. I'd definitely head a Stroll if we can get these tyres to the end of the Grand Prix, when obviously they do come around to pit. Can't be long before they do pit, but look at that, yeah, the wear's next to nothing. We can definitely stretch these towards the end of the Grand Prix. We've already done about 1/3 of how long they'll need. Oh, Gasly is going to be able to look up the inside again there, as that was a big old mistake from us. Hold on again. Gasly must be getting so frustrated, stuck behind us at this stage of the day. He knows he's got a quick car underneath him. He's watching Jack Aitken get closer and closer in the mirrors there. As you just see there, a little bit of contact between myself and Pierre there. Perhaps the frustration starting to show. But yeah, at the moment, we can definitely get these tyres to the end. The wear is not that bad at all. Heading around the final corner this time around, Gasly's got a big old run on us. He's going to look to the inside, back towards turn 1 there, and just look at the straight line speed of the AlphaTauri. We'll try and go much, much deeper on the brakes. There is a bit of contact, and somehow we hold on once more there, and Gasly is going to be pushed right back into Jack Aitken in this Grand Prix there. But yeah, we are just struggling at the moment, but we're still thinking about the long game. When these guys all pit soon, we're going to have a big old advantage, as we'll just watch them hopefully not close up as quickly. The softs are certainly a lot better than the mediums, of course. Oh, there we go. We got Lance Stroll into the pit lane there, so the gap to him was about 8-9 seconds. Everyone behind us diving into the pit lane as well, and we are going to come out comfortably ahead of the Canadian in this Grand Prix there. So now is the moment of truth to see, when is George Russell going to pit in this Grand Prix? Will we be ahead of him? And if so, by how much? Right, moment of truth time then. Lap 19, are we going to see George Russell into the pit lane? I think we are. Oh, that is not the line through there. If that's going to be what costs us to him, I'm going to be very disappointed in myself. I think, though, to be honest, looking at it, George is probably going to be ahead of us still in this Grand Prix. And even if he's not, I don't think there's going to be a huge amount we can do in this race. Now, look at that. He's already heading back down out of the pit lane exit here. We set a 10.3 still on that lap, but rounding turn 1, teammate behind into the pits, but George Russell has come back out in the lead of this Grand Prix, and I'm sure we're now just going to watch him take off in the second half of this race. Perez and Verstappen now just behind us, as Stroll 5 seconds back. Definitely feel like we could still try and hold on ahead of him for a while, but it would just be a case of when he gets some clear air, seeing what his pace is like. Lance Stroll a 109.0, that is insane pace from the racing point, so he's definitely going to be closing in on us. It's just a case of how quickly there. Gasly goes even faster, as are we going to see Pierre Gasly back up on the radar as well, 13 seconds back, surely with 15 laps to go we can try and hold off from him. But yeah, just a question of how well now will our mediums last in comparison to everyone else's. Teams still want us to come in onto another set of softs there, but the pace is still improving on these mediums, finally down to the 109s. But we've got Stroll now 1.1 behind us. It's a question of whether we try to defend him for the extra points, or we just accept the fact our battles with Gasly and Hamilton this weekend. Decisions, decisions. Well, I don't think we're going to have much of a decision in whether we're going to defend from Lance Stroll there. He's just going to slip straight up the inside there, barge me wide on the exit of the corner there. Can we try and potentially get a run back on him down towards turn 1 there, or is the racing point just going to be a bit too quick in this Grand Prix? I must admit, Lance Stroll has been so impressive in the opening 2 rounds of this World Championship. Can we get a run on him out of the final corner? No, I don't think we're going to be close enough back down towards turn 1 there, so that has sealed our fate of P2 in the Grand Prix there. Teams to want us in at the end of this one, but we've got 8 seconds to Pierre Gasly behind, 10 laps to go. We've just got to hold out and keep these tyres in good nick. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Is that Stroll going slowly? It is Lance Stroll, who is going to almost go into the side of us on the exit of turn 1 there, but heartbreak for Stroll just after we were saying how strong he's been early on this championship. Lance Stroll is going to pull to the wayside in the Dutch Grand Prix there. Luckily no safety car, that could have really hampered our race as well there, but heartbreak for Stroll. He's helped us out though. He's cost Gasly and Hamilton a couple of seconds apiece as well, which might be the difference for us at the end of the Grand Prix there, but heartbreak for Racing Point, heartbreak for Lance Stroll, who looked to really solidify himself in P2 of the World Championship at the moment, but it's gifted us an extra 3 points here. Surely some questions have got to be raised about the Mercedes reliability though. 2 of their power units going in this Grand Prix. I knew they brought a couple more upgrades this weekend, but they're not working for Racing Point there and Williams. As yeah, surely got to leave some questions on the table for the Brackley-based squad. Shame for us, to be honest, that it hasn't been George Russell, but yeah, he has been dominant so far today, and that looks set to continue right the way to the very end. Just under 6 laps to go here from Zandvoort, and the gap to Gasly still holding out about 8 seconds. We might just have done enough here. We might have pulled off a bit of a miracle drive today. Well, it's certainly been a home Grand Prix to forget for poor Nick de Vries. They're still sat in P20 a long way behind his teammate, and I think it is, I want to say, Matsushita in this Grand Prix. Thank you very much, Nick de Vries, but we'll see you at the checkered flag, mate. Tyre wear warning light has come on in this race as well, and the tyres are really starting to struggle towards the end of this one. George Russell putting out bigger and bigger gaps every lap, but Gasly behind, still only about a second a lap faster than us, so I think, yeah, to be honest, the way Lance Stroll accidentally held up those guys might have come in clutch for us here. If the gap's less than about 2 at the end, unless we make another big mistake, I think Stroll might have done it. Heading in towards the final lap then of the Dutch Grand Prix. That front left tyre is looking angry at this stage, but it's certainly been a strategy call that's paid off for us at this late stage of the Grand Prix. There, Gasly still 3 seconds back as we head on to the final lap here, but George Russell, what a dominant display it's been by him. 22 seconds up the road now, a third of a lap ahead of me. I mean, he's pretty much half a lap ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton as well here, which is absolutely insane when you think about it. And if ever there was going to be a World Championship that should be George Russell's, this season might be it. He got so close in Season 3 when he was our teammate. He really did push us more than I think any other teammate has since, in all honesty there. But around in the final few corners of the Dutch Grand Prix, we can talk all the high praise of George Russell all we like, but what a breakthrough result it's going to be for us as well here. Exactly what we need at this early stage of the year. We certainly don't have a car capable of winning on raw pace just yet, but we're getting there, and big points like this today is going to fill us with a lot more confidence to try and go for some riskier strats down the line. In towards the final couple of corners of the Dutch Grand Prix there, Russell takes the win, 23 seconds up the road from ourselves, but round in the final turn, it is going to be P2 from 9th on the grid here at the Dutch Grand Prix there. Everything fell into place, and we have been rewarded.
Can't complain about that one. That was an excellent drive.
A difficult race then on a circuit that demands complete concentration, but they've persevered to take the win here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out. but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Interesting choice today, I think. There's a few to pick from, but I think I have to give it to Danny Kvyat. He put in a rock-solid performance today, one that he can be proud of.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Dutch Grand Prix, and it is George Russell there, 107.7 at the end of the day. Goes to show just how fast he was in that car there. 2 stops for him, pole position, fastest lap, race victory, 26 points on the board. What more could be said? Completely unstoppable this weekend there. We come through, though, on the 1-stop OP for P2. Pierre Gasly just behind us in P3 there, just 1 second separated us at the line there, with Hamilton finishing 4th where he started in that Grand Prix there. Albon and Ocon swapped over there, Ocon getting the better of his Thai teammate this weekend there, with Lando Norris in P7 getting some good points on the board there. Kvyat, a brilliant recovery drive by him, 14th to 8th in the end there. Jack Aitken getting some good points on the board there, beating his Ferrari teammate Max Verstappen and getting his very first points, if I'm not mistaken, as well there. And yeah, disappointing day for Max, P10 at his home race there. Charles Leclerc just misses out on points from 11th on the grid. And yeah, a bit gutted with that, I'm sure there. Perez down in 12th ahead of Guan Yu Zhou there. And further down the order, you can see Sainz, and then obviously Jordan King, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Matsushita, Nick de Vries, with, yeah, Stroll and Giovinazzi, the only 2 cars not to make it to the checkered flag there. Championship-wise, I'm sure there's a lot of movement. There we go. Straight up into P4 of the title battle there. That is exactly what we like to see at this early stage of the year there. Russell and Gasly really proving themselves as the 2 consistency men early on this year there. Russell 59 there, Gasly 42, and then next up Stroll still hanging on at 27 points there. We're tied with Albon on 24 apiece. Danny Kvyat drops down on 23. Hamilton and Ocon tied on 22. So it goes to show how close it is at the moment there. Perez and Norris tied on 18. Charles Leclerc on 14th in 11th overall there ahead of Guan Yu Zhou. And yeah, like we said, Jack Aitken and Max Verstappen both getting their first points on the board there. So Ferrari have now got out of the starting blocks as well. They just leave Sainz in the back markers yet to score so far this championship there. Constructors-wise, we jump all the way up to P4 as well from 7th. Sixth place even, I should say, heading into the weekend. Then Mercedes further extend that gap over AlphaTauri there as well, with Red Bull sitting pretty in 3rd place there. We're 3 clear of Racing Point there, with Renault and McLaren still duking it out for 6th and 7th. Ferrari now off the blocks, like we said, in 8th still. Surely they can't finish 8th 2 years in a row. Surely they're going to be able to find something more in that car and that team there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon. Ready for round 4 of the year. We head to the Spanish Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.